Good morning, YouTube. How y'all doing this morning? Getting on here. Looks like it's going to be a good day so far. Just sitting down here looking at the charts, guys. Just getting going. I'm going to go through the basket at about 9 a.m. and get a consensus of what we think is going to go on. So all right, let me see here. Levels worked pretty good yesterday. Shorts worked, longs worked, which is typical for that type of candle. Interesting. Pre-market high. It's kind of marking the stuff off here early. Let's see. Get rid of some of these lines. Boy, everybody's behind this morning. 9:40. Nobody's in my other chat. Everybody's late. Just cleaning up some of the candles from previous days or levels, excuse me. Amazon came down and tested this 33.32, which like I thought it might. If you hear my puppy bulldog in the background barking, he's playing with my other one. Yesterday's open. $33.44. Yeah, these candles roughly down to the close. It's yesterday and day before it's closed, so get rid of that. All right. I'm going to be getting started here soon, guys. Just around 9 o'clock. Be getting going here in a couple of minutes, guys. All right, we're about ready to get going. Just waiting for some people to show up, but everybody's late today. Then they'll want me to redo everything, go over it again. Anyway, let's get going here. SPY. So SPY was a pretty good short yesterday. Took this level short, played that, could have took it all the way down. Whoop, excuse me, I'm looking at the wrong day. Took the short into the call level. It broke out about 50 cents. Well, actually, it came almost a point. The long was there if you waited for the high or low. You could have caught that move. But anyway, I took it short. That was my one trade for the day. I made my money and moved on. So basically the same levels look like they're going to apply today. Yesterday's low is way down here after hours. So that would be our secondary. And then the close is right in this neighborhood. 433.65. We can watch yesterday's highs. Yesterday's highs for a short. We can watch that area for a short. But we're getting bought up here. Okay, so if we get over this 437.91, we're going to be up in this gap. So once we get in this gap, it's going to want to run and try to fill this gap up by the 9. The gap fills all up here, so there's going to be a lot of resistance there. So we may not want to take this short when it comes. We're just going to kind of watch and see what happens. I might want to see a lower high, see a little bit of failure before I get on that trade. And then, of course, coming down here, we'd like a straight jab down. We're kind of in the middle. As long as it hangs in this area, we'll get a pretty good run either way. Okay? So that's the areas on SPY so far. Qs. Similar scenario. Pre-market low or after hours low down here. We had a double bottom here on Qs at the level yesterday at 365.68. We can watch that area, but the close is probably where it's going to bounce, which is here. So we're going to watch this close right here. End of day close is what I'm talking about, not after hours. After hours down here. So once again, we can watch yesterday's highs for a short. We'll see where it comes into. So if we get a straight jam up into 368.81, we can watch that for a short for the run back down here to lows. Or if we dip, then we're going to be looking for our long down here and applying our standard risk, of course. Okay. Zip up here to Apple. Right now it just looks like kind of a bouncy day, so we'll see. So yesterday's highs is here. This is the gap 144.84. So we can watch this into the gap, this area here. Start in short here. Give it up to this gap fill, which is about 24 cents. Really don't want to get into that gap, because it gets into that gap, it's going to want to squeeze and run up here into the 9, right? It's going to want to come back and tag this 9 at some point. So just have to be aware, taking the trade at the levels after it's getting bought up, because that's what's happening. Okay, so we'll just be careful. We can still take it, just caution. I much rather have the long down here, 142.98 in this area. Okay, maybe even 142.79. Somewhere deeper the better. Okay. AMC, nothing. AMD's back into the 50. The 9's just above. It's going to want to fill this gap. We can watch the gap fill for a short. If it pops through that gap, it's going to bounce the 9. Now the market could get bought right and go straight back up too, guys. Don't think that it can't. So we can watch the long 102.17 down here. I would need that distance. I would need it to come down here in this neighborhood to try to take it long with a risk of 101.65. Okay. This short's pretty tight, so maybe if we get a dip early, like the market opens and it dips straight, that's kind of the play I'd be looking for. And then I would not take the short here because it's probably going to break through. So if our first directional pitch is down, we're probably going to get bought up. Okay. Amazon. Amazon is up, showing a little bit of strength. Got a little bit of an uptrend here. See this? Doesn't look like it, but it's there. We have a market maker candle down to 32.01. Interesting. Amazon could run up to the 9 easily today, which is 34.10. Huh. Guess we'll just watch it. If Amazon breaks these highs, the whole market should lift. If Amazon breaks out of these highs, I'm not really going to get interested in the short on Inspired Qs, just so we're all on the same page. Okay. All right, moving on. Boeing, nothing there really. Baba's trying to hold that bottom. Baba's so nasty. There's just no protection on Baba down here, guys. There's just, it's a no man's land at the moment. I mean, we could call it the bottom of this. It bounced. Let's take a look at that. Whoops. But the chances, the people that are trading it back here aren't still in the trade, okay? I don't like Baba. Let's move on. Plenty other easier plays out there. Carnival's been holding this 22.72 uptrend since last week. We've been watching this play. Caught it a couple of times. The uptrend test down here around 22.72. Yesterday's lows, I'd watch Carnival for a long 22.86. And then give it down to 22.72. That's only 10 cents at risk, guys. That's not much. All right. Coinbase bounced at that 231.05. It's continuing up. I would need a run back down here for me to get interested in this. 231.05 still again, I think. You could try the 233.08, the after hour pivot, but there's no way I could take it up here. Too much of a gap right there. Have to come down and fill this gap. Get down here. Okay. I'm leaning long so far today. Disney, I'd need at 169.10 to take a long. We have market maker candles way down here. I would just need it down at 169.05 or whatever that low is. What was this low? 169.03. Okay. Just not really interested in it unless it gets there. Could try it here, but my opinion, this big jam down, it's going to want to test this at least once. So I would wait for it to come in there, even though it's currently climbing up. Oh, Draft Greens broke that 56. That's interesting. Nothing there. Moving on. Facebook. Facebook come down and tagged the level at 355.66 after hours. Bounced, came back up. We'll look for that retest at 355.66 for the call. Okay. Pretty easy. Same short, 361.53. All of this is the same. Same levels today will apply on these two. Gap fill. And this lower level down here. Down to the low. Oh, it did bounce it yesterday. Doggone it. How did I miss that? At 11 o'clock and at 10 o'clock, it bounced twice. What'd you say? It's jamming down. It's not broke out. Just a big candle. All right. Google's trying to get bought up. I don't really see a play on Google. Held that area at 27.74. Dipped a little under it, but it's trying to hold it. Can move this down to that low. And then watch this here. That would be your, this is your box. Intel was doggy yesterday, kind of like I thought it might be. Moderna broke that downtrend. The short-term downtrend anyway. It should get a push now. So that being said, I like Moderna long today at 432.40. Excuse me, 432.47-ish. $432.45. I've done it. Drop my pen. I have Moderna on one of my screens today. Same with Microsoft. Microsoft comes into this 294.32 level, even the pre-market low right here in the middle to close. This is probably a pretty good trade. You got very small risk down to yesterday's level, so I like that trade. Still holding some on Microsoft from Friday, so took a swing. All right, so it's coming back up, showing good strength, but I'd like a retest of this level to add to the position. Lost somebody. All right, so those are going to be the levels that we're going to be watching for on Microsoft for the long. And then, of course, the gap fill short here, 299.54. Make sure you've got profit coming in there. Make sure that you have your profit taken on Microsoft coming into this 299.54 if you take a if you buy this 294.79. Okay, that's a long run. So hopefully we get a nice dip into these levels right here. Very small risk, and I'm not interested in going below these lows. Okay, so your ultimate risk is here. Right there. Okay, so about 80 cents a risk roughly. Okay, so if we can get a dip into this 294.79, I'll take it long, add into 294.32, and take it down to 294.02. Okay, moving on. I like Microsoft today as well. MU came down and bounced late. Not interested in MU. Netflix short was perfect yesterday. Short on Netflix was perfect yesterday. Oh, all right. That was a pretty stiff rejection of this level, guys. It's getting bought back up. We're going to watch that short. We should get a pretty substantial pullback coming into that level. That was a pretty stout rejection. So we can short it coming into this 581.90. Contract's going to be pretty expensive, so depending on your risk tolerance. Okay. And then long, of course, down here, down in the lower area. Let's take a look here real quick. Right there, 569.44. And then you're going to give it down to this low right here. That's your risk. Now on a $560 stock, that's not very much risk, but that's what we're giving it. Okay. Change this yellow. That's our risk box right there. A little over a point. Okay. That's the play on Netflix currently. I would like for Netflix to come down first and not go up first, because I'm really looking for longs early. I don't want the shorts, but it is what it is. Whatever comes. Nvidia's got some big market maker candles. Can watch Nvidia down here at 211.98 for the long, which is where it bounced yesterday. It slipped under that a little bit, but we can still watch that level for the long. And then we're going to give it down to a little tick right there. There's a lot going on in Nvidia today. This is the gap fill. This fills the gap, this candle. So I'll be looking for a long here. No short here. Take that off. There's no short up in here until the gap up by the 9. The 9's up here, 217.50. I want to dip out of Nvidia to get long, somewhere down into here. Okay. If it doesn't work, we can give it down to this tick. How much distance that? A little less than a point on that. We might have to take more than one stab at this trade. So that would be the long risk. And if it breaks out, just close it and reset down here at the bottom. 209.60. Okay. All right. PayPal. 268.80. That range. Watch it down to the low. Somewhere deeper the better for the long. Deeper the better. So somewhere in that box. Okay? If you want to take PayPal long. Now listen guys, when I'm talking about these trades and these levels, they're all market dependent. What's going across the market? Don't just hone in on one stock and then make a decision when it's coming into a level. You're like, I'm going to take PayPal long at 267, but SPY and Qs and everybody's broke their lower levels is headed south. Well, then you're not going to take that PayPal trade because the chances are it's going to break, right? You have to look across the market. Okay? All right, back to Q's. Q's is level down here at the close. I like that it pulled back a little bit. It was getting a little extended. I'm looking to go long in Q's somewhere in this 366 to 364. Might have to take more than one stab at it, okay? But it looks like it's fairly strong. I don't really like the dip down after hours, but I mean, we have to take this trade here. We can take it 366.13, bring it down to 365.68. It's going to be your risk on the long. And if it breaks out of there, the pain to come to the bottom at 364.40 from 365.68 is going to be pretty substantial. So you're going to have to be, you're going to be changing strikes as you're coming down if it breaks out. So make sure you're not buying the same strike, okay? So you're going to start in 366 or 365s, and then you're going to be buying 364s if it dips down in this neighborhood, right? If we come through, if it breaks through this area right here, it gets out of this box, the chances of it coming all the way to the bottom become very strong, okay? AMD. I went through AMD already. Give me a second, G-Rod. I'll go back. Anyway, that's the play on Qs. Let me bounce up here to AMD real quick. Somebody's asking. AMD. I like the short at the gap fill at 103.71. The long at the close, possibly. I'm really not crazy where AMD is sitting right now. The risk is pretty large. You really shouldn't take AMD long until down here, which would be yesterday's lows at 101.18. And if it breaks this level at the close somewhere in here, where's the close? Like right in here, in this neighborhood. If it breaks this level, the chances of it coming down to 101.18 are pretty high, okay? Now, could we get a straight dip into this 102.82 and the whole market lifts off and it breaks out of this gap and runs up to run at the long-term downtrend? Possibly, that could happen. But it's a little risky. I don't really like this trade today. It's not a very good setup to take, okay? All right, back to, we were at Q's. Space is trash. All right, back to SPY. Level still holding on SPY. We broke these late hour levels. The high yesterday, the lower high here. I shorted SPY yesterday. I'll be watching this 437.91 for a short on SPY. I'll also be watching for a long down here at 433.65 to 432.36, depending on how the market's moving coming into these levels, guys. When I'm watching these trades, this is how I'm looking at them. So if stuff's all crap in the bed everywhere, I'm not just going to blindly take a long, or if everything's rocketing up, I'm not going to blindly take a short when it comes into levels. Okay? So back to, where were we? SPY. All right. So back to SPY, we gauge the market with SPY in Qs, right? We use that as a guide to give us an idea of what everything else is going to be doing. All right, so SPY's coming down. It's kind of in the middle, in the box, channel, whatever you want to call it. Lower the better on the long on SPY. Once it gets here, if it comes in with authority, I'll execute here. Take profit. I'm going to be watching my profit cautiously in case it wants to come down and test this after hours low. I hope it doesn't. So that's where that's at. All right. Square. Don't really like Square either. Tesla's running back up just like I thought it would. Still not interested in Tesla. The range is too far. Yesterday's low. You just can't. You can't really take this trade. It's too much risk. Risk is too big right now. It's just too big. Tesla's up into the gap. Okay, we got this little gap here at the 9. Tesla's sitting right on the 9. It could dip into this area, and you could take a long, a 736 call, probably 735 call. I'm not sure what the calls are. I'd have to go look. But somewhere in that range, you can watch for a long on Tesla for those that want to trade Tesla. But there's a lot of risk in that trade. It is not for beginners. Okay. Twitter, trash. Oh, the VIX is coming back down. All right, there it is, guys. I gotta open the trade deck here. Amazon broke below the open. That's interesting. That's gonna give us our push down. Where was the close on Amazon? That 34.52. Pre-market low on Amazon is here. I highlight these so I know if it's getting weaker or stronger. There's a big suck up candle. All right. SPY's coming down. A lot of range when we have to back the charts up this far to be able to see the charts. We know that we have a big range, right? Big range. Big range, wait for levels. Don't enter early. Just relax. Apple's trying to push pre-market into my damn short level. I mean, really? I hate it when it does it pre-market. It's going to piss me off. All right. You trade with Interactive Brokers, obviously. Interactive Brokers pays me to talk about them, so that's in there as well. I love their two-factor authentication. Uses my face from my phone. Got about 4 minutes. Make sure you get your brokerage open, trade deck, I'll call it. Get what stocks you're interested in. Get your strikes ready. Know where you're looking. Have it all open and ready to go. Market's pretty solid green right now. Facebook's down. Wow, what the hell happened there? Facebook broke yesterday's lows, pre-market here. Well, that's interesting. We'll have to keep that on. We'll have to be watching those shorts. Apple's almost into my short level. Damn it. I need speed and distance into these levels, guys. I can't take the short when it's right on the level.